I think that the current version of Drake is like it's like watching LeBron tape. We're in Lakers LeBron era right now. Like this is Lakers Drake, where low key kind of washed, but when we have to call upon him, there are still the times when he can come through for you, right? And I think that is
That's a really good. I like that.
yeah. So we're like that's why when we were doing the views review, I'm like, oh, it feels like watching old LeBron tape. And now that we're doing this and watching this, and the Lakers are in the playoffs, I'm like, yeah, this is Lakers LeBron. We're Lakers LeBron, but Lakers LeBron where he's supposed to be the third option.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of that album, and how the album fits into the context of that artist's career. Everyone watching on YouTube, we thank you. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to us, and leave us a comment. Let us know how wrong we always are. My name is Adriel Smiley, aka Champion Scribe, and we are joined by His Royal Highness, aka the Bunny, aka Never Stop Munchin, aka award-winning and award-nominated journalist in 2026, King Grant.
Welcome back, everybody. It's album mode. This time we're back with Drake. Drake is back into our lives with three albums, one of which called Iceman. Iceman is an album in which I don't know. I don't know anymore. I've gotten to a point now with Drake. I hate to break it to everybody, but I don't know what he's doing anymore. I think that his I think the promotion for it was sick. I think the live stream, the I would say art installation of the ice sculpture, that was cool. So there were some interesting things happening, but we're here reviewing Iceman. Got the other two albums in the back we'll talk about as well. But it seems like the principal album is Iceman. And I'm curious what everybody thinks now about Drake's music because this is a very interesting time in his career.
Yes, very interesting time. Iceman is his ninth studio album. Habibti is his 10th. Maid of Honor is his 11th. Someone at work said this to me, and I hadn't thought of it this way, but this is extremely correct. And get in the comments if there's someone else we're not missing. But excuse me, this is the biggest comeback in music history. No one has ever come back with this grand of a comeback. So I think the part of this album is, and this goes with Drake without saying, but how much of this is the actual music itself? How much is it what Drake symbolizes? Him coming back, whatever side you've taken in the
Mhm.
beef, we'll get to that as well. And when that person said to me, this is the biggest comeback of all time in music history, so someone who's in their 50s who said this to me. And I said, you know what's crazy? I don't think we're looking at it like that at all. I think Drake has all these feelings attached to what he does from everybody
Mhm.
that it's not about the music at all, and the grandness of what he's done in terms of how historic it is, we almost can't grasp. And the narrative has been, oh my God, it's 43 songs, it's so many songs. What do we
Mhm.
do? And I saw this post from Four Corner Raptors official DJ. Big shout out to Four Corners. He talked about people listening to talk about it, like listening just for
Yep.
that reason, which is technically what we're doing. But I think we would listen anyways.
Yeah.
But I think there's also that part of it that, again, I saw this on Twitter, which this is a good way to kind of frame this album because we're gonna try and not do what this is. But Drake is the artist where people who don't like him still listen and still speak on it.
Yeah.
And I think like he's very unique in that way because I can't think of another artist who you're not a fan of them, you're still gonna listen to them speak on it. Like I think someone like Lil Baby. We're not Lil Baby fans. So
Right.
that's not our group. Lil Baby dropped the album, a few months back. We didn't listen to it. We never talked about it. Private on the pod didn't even, appear to us. So I think Drake is in that unique spot where it's not just his fans interacting with what he does.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so interesting that you're bringing this up so early. So I guess I'll just start talking about it early. Is that when I was listening to Iceman, I genuinely thought to myself, I'm like, why am I listening to this album? Like, why? Seriously, because I'm like, we did this retro review on Views, which I think we should now release after Iceman or after this review, because I think the tonal, I think the tone of which we were talking about the albums will be different. But I thought to myself, why exactly are we listening to Iceman? Because in the past few albums from Drake, it's not like he is dropping the hottest album ever or something that we're like, oh, this is a next step, type of artistically for him. So I'm like, why are we listening to it? And I thought to myself, I'm like, I think it's because Drake's famous. And less so because Drake's artistry is particularly moving right now. Like that is not something that I don't think that that's the case. Like when we talked about Don Toliver, or we've talked about people in the past, like even Pink Panthers, or even Sampha, who Drake has collabed with, where we're like, there is something happening, there is an evolution, there is a change, they're important to music in X and Y way. Obviously Drake's important to music, but there is something artistically progressing. Whereas when I'm here listening to Iceman and Habibti, and the other one that I can't remember right now,
Maid of Honor.
Maid of Honor. Maid of Honor is actually, it started to feel like, okay, maybe there's actually something interesting happening here. But Iceman in particular, I'm like, I don't think we're listening to this because we're like, oh, I can't wait for the next Drake drop because it's about to be crazy or fire, or I can't wait for this next. We're just like, Drake's famous. The beef is famous. That was an international incident. I will maintain I will maintain that. That was an international situation. And we're listening to it because it's Drake though. Like that's the reason why, because the conversation of Drake is so dominant in not even just music, popular culture, that not knowing what's going on with him is like not knowing what's happening with I don't know, like Madonna or something like that, like, but this back in
Mhm.
the 80s or 90s. So it's like you need to know because it's important culturally, like a pop culture sense, but artistically, I don't know if you need to know what Drake is dropping anymore.
I'm going to disagree with that last part. I think artistically, what he does is still important because even on this album, he still does a lot of stuff that only he does, and that continues here. So I still
Mhm.
think that it's important in that way. But I've been comparing him to Taylor Swift. I agree with what you're saying in terms of the famous part. Like he's actually just the male Taylor Swift
Sure.
in that way, where Taylor Swift is not doing something new and engaging every single time she
Yeah.
drops, but we don't kind of give her that same flack, and it's
Oh,
almost
I've
like
been I've been doing that. That's
you
just me
know
though.
we have,
Yeah.
but it's almost like she's allowed to make the same thing over and over again that's not as good,
Hmm.
and Drake is not. And I think the one thing I came to this album, and I'm gonna go back in time with Drake a little bit, even though we've reviewed him a bunch of times. If you don't know who Drake is, I can't even imagine why you would listen to this review. But there's something about him that I think the way he's viewed, he can't recover from. But I compared him to his contemporaries. And contemporaries, by that I mean the biggest stars in the world. Okay.
Hmm.
I compared him to the Bad Bunnies, the Weeknd, the Bruno Mars, Ariana Grande. And I think artistically he may not be as strong as all of his contemporaries, but I think at least on this project, he is a little bit, more experimental than some of his contemporaries. And I think he does things again still that only he does. And again, we're just almost used to it in any way. And I'm happy you brought up the views review because the views review is kind of like what brought that to my attention is he does these things that only he does, and
Hmm.
we treat it like it's nothing. And I think if there's any of these other artists like Ariana Grande, The Weeknd, Bad Bunny, you know, Taylor Swift, if they had this singing that they do on every album that only they can do, that would be a badge of honor. And I think, part of this is like, and I'm guilty of it as well. We can't look at Drake objectively. That is out that is out the window. The music is not the music. It's the figure, the celebrity, the pop star, and
Hmm.
then the music. That's kind of always been the case, except for this time. At the beginning of Drake's career, and I'm gonna let my hipster card fly because I was there. 2006, Drake's first mixtape, Room for Improvement. Then we got Comeback Season, and then we got So Far Gone. And from this this mixtape run from '06 to '09, Drake becomes the new guy on the scene and becomes, okay, we're looking to see what he does next. Now, for those of you who don't know, Room for Improvement, Comeback Season are just rap projects. He sings once on Comeback Season, which is a joke song, but basically doesn't sing for real until So Far Gone.
Hmm.
Now, So Far Gone becomes this legendary mixtape that basically changes the way albums are done, basically influences the entire blog era, and kind of creates this, internet album culture that we have today. I want to say after that, we get Thank Me Later, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same. The first string of three albums that kind of cement him as he's still the good rapper, still the guy that sings, and still the hit maker.
Hmm.
And the kind of discussion around those albums has changed a bunch over the past 15 years. But I think that is that run that kind of sets him up for his career. Obviously, he drops a bunch of loosies in between then. This is the OVO, OVO, October's very own .blogspot.com era. If you're old enough to remember that, please drop an owl in the chat. But this is kind of the era where Drake becomes who he becomes, and then we get the views, more life, and the second part of his career is very different. And second part of his career is more where we start reviewing Drake. So we'll talk
Right.
about our reviews a little bit later because we missed the I don't want to say the good Drake, but the early part of his career Drake. We didn't get to review any of those live.
Right.
So we kind of get the second part of his career. One thing I want to mention, and this is a stat that I saw that I'm like, I've always been kind of, I guess, itching and reaching and finding a way to kind of explain how big of an artist Drake is and how important he is.
Okay.
And Take Care, this happened last year in October, became the first rap album of the 2010s to go diamond. And obviously, it's Drake. If you want, Drake is almost like LeBron and Jordan in these kind of stats where which rap album went diamond always gets Drake.
Yeah.
But I think that is important because Take Care has been revered over time. It's kind of been up and down in terms of how people view it.
Hmm.
It's widely regarded as Drake's first classic. Some say it's his only classic. We're not
Hmm.
going to get into any of that till the end. But I think that there's things about this artist and this album and this rollout that we kind of, again, we take for granted because when the album came out, the three albums, and it said, oh, he's set to break Michael Jackson's record for the most number ones.
Hmm.
Breaking any Michael Jackson record is not just a regular thing.
Yeah.
And I think as well, this is part of like, my musical home and kind of being a fan of a bunch of genres is I don't think in anywhere, any shape or form, people thought a rapper would be breaking these records.
Hmm.
So I think that's a part of it where I'm like, yes, he is a rapper. Yes, he is extremely popular, but he is the unique situation where he's a rapper just as popular as the pop singers and the pop stars. And we haven't really had that in the history of hip hop for this extended period of time. We've had the eras where Eminem is really popping, Kanye is really popping,
Yeah.
50 Cent was at his peak. But in this, extended run, seeing a rapper be just as big as the pop stars, we've never seen that before.
Yeah, and I think, it's kind of funny. You're like, certain person is popping, this person is pop, this person pop. It's like Drake just exploded. Like there's
Yes.
no popping of Drake. It's just explosion. And we are bearing witness to the aftermath. I think that Drake is a person that is otherworldly. Almost like it's kind of crazy. And I think in the views review that I keep referring to that is not even out yet. But we did talk about well, I mentioned like I think that the current version of Drake is like it's like watching LeBron tape. We're in Lakers LeBron era right now. Like this is Lakers Drake, where low key kind of washed, but when we have to call upon him, there are still the times when he can come through for you, right? And I think that is
That's a really good, I like that.
yeah. So we're like that's why when we were doing the views review, I'm like, oh, it feels like watching old LeBron tape. And now that we're doing this and watching this, and the Lakers are in the playoffs, I'm like, yeah, this is Lakers LeBron. We're Lakers LeBron, but Lakers LeBron where he's supposed to be the third option. But for some
Yes.
reason we're still looking at him as the number one or number two. And it's the same thing with Drake where I'm like, we're looking at him. as the number one or number two. But it's really
Hmm.
like we're actually in a state now where I feel like this person be step should be stepping back. I think it's just because of the beef, and he's still one of the most famous people on earth, right?
Ever.
Yeah, so it's like we need to we're still paying attention to him in that number one option type of way. But I'm like, it's not actually true. Like the beef is the first round versus the Rockets, where it's like, actually, wait, hold on, we still got to talk about him in the number one way, right? And I think that's, I know it might sound convoluted maybe to a person who is not really a basketball fan like that, but I feel like they're the same person. I genuinely think they're the same person now.
There is something there. I'm gonna get to this kind of at the end. We talk about all the projects he released, but I
Mhm.
think there is something to him still being the number one. It's kind of just like how we view what number one even means
Yeah.
in 2026. But this is his return. Like I talked about this being the biggest return. This is a return, his first solo album since 2023. Drake's basically never taken that long
Yeah,
off
that's
from a
long
solo
for Drake.
project.
For Drake.
Yeah, yeah. He
This
he
is
dropped
oh, go ahead.
he dropped a collab project in 2025 in February with
Hmm.
Party Next Door, but not the same as a solo Drake project. It's
Hmm.
still something, but not the same. He's coming off of his beef with Kendrick Lamar. Not Like Us became the biggest song in streaming history. It was a huge record. Now Drake has since broke that
Hmm.
record, just like that, which is kind of incredible to me. Will make them cry. I could not imagine this that he could break that record in one day, but it's Drake, so
Yeah.
he was able to do it. But before I get your thoughts on the beef and Not Like Us and kind of where Drake is coming from in terms of redeeming himself to a lot of fans and just the general public,
Hmm.
I'm gonna read you something that Kendrick said about Not Like Us. Now he did an interview with SZA in October of 2024, and she said, "What does Not Like Us mean to you?" And this is a part of what Kendrick said.
Okay.
Not like us. Not like us is the energy of who I am, the type of man I represent. Now, if you identify with the man that I represent, this man has morals. He has values. He believes in something. He stands on something. He's not pandering. He's a man who can recognize his mistakes and not be afraid to share the mistakes, and can dig deep down into fear-based ideologies or experiences to be able to express them without feeling like he's less of a man. If I'm thinking of Not Like Us, I'm thinking of me and whoever identifies with that.
Hmm.
Now, before I throw to you, I'm gonna kind of add my thoughts to this because I have kind of thoughts on this framing of a star. I think the way Kendrick's framing himself, you're not hearing one of the biggest rappers of all time in that framing.
Right.
This sounds like an underground indie artist who only raps about the diaspora. That's kind of what that sounds like. Now, hearing Kendrick Lamar's music, that's sometimes true, but
Hmm.
not always true. Um, but I think of this kind of decision of like you have to choose a side. Like either I'm the man with morals and integrity and I stand for something, or I just don't and I pander. And I've always thought like, is there a middle ground for this? And I've always thought that there is, but I think what the beef did is kind of eroded that middle ground. I
Yeah,
said, if you're trying to have the middle ground, then you're doing something wrong.
yeah, I think that it's just like there is a framing of when Drake or sorry, when Kendrick Lamar talks about Not Like Us, he frames it in a state of like it's me versus Drake. So like a comparison of like ideology, like personal philosophy is where he is
Hmm.
drawing a line. So that's why he is speaking like that. But there is space in the middle. The entire music industry exists in the middle of those two people. You know what I mean? It was just like a moment in music history. Again, I will forever maintain this is a music history moment where you saw like a
It's
sundering.
sorry, is someone contesting that? You keep saying I'm going to maintain that. Is someone contesting that? I thought
No, but
that's
I
common
want to make sure
knowledge.
that it's like known in that way. Like people just be like,
Okay,
"Oh yeah, the
okay.
beef," but I'm like, "No, that was like a history. That was a
Well, it's
moment in
it's
music
it's the
history."
biggest beef in rap history. So
Yeah.
I think that alone,
Right, but again, I just want like maybe again that's it's new. Yeah, I think in that space he's just like it's me versus him. But there's people like J. Cole exist in that middle. Drake does not a fan of that by the way. He mentioned that in his lyrics. Like he was very
yeah.
upset that he did that, but so many people exist in the middle. Like what does Smino have to do with this? Nothing. He exists in the middle. What is what did what's a good example? What Tyler the Creator? I mean, Tyler the Creator was more on the Kendrick side because they're from the same place. But like, what did Earl Sweatshirt have to do with this? Frank Ocean, Beyonce. See what I'm saying? Like, what does Sabrina Carpenter have to say about the beef? Right? Let's be
What does Ja Rule think
yeah.
about this?
What does John Rule think about this? So like, I think that it is possible to exist in the middle, even as a rapper. Schoolboy Q, what did Schoolboy Q say? He didn't say anything,
Hmm.
right? So it's possible to exist in the middle. It's just like the beef was just like it's me or him. Like you got to choose, but the choice was invisible, or it was optional, although heavily recommended. How about that?
Let's talk about our past reviews because
Okay.
we've reviewed, how many do I got here? Five Drake albums.
Hmm.
And honestly, it feels like it could be more. But the first one, September 2021, Certified Lover Boy, one of the biggest um albums in the history of streaming. I think it's ninth most streamed album of all time. What do you remember what your review was for this album?
For which one? Sorry.
Certified Lover Boy.
That was a that was a four. I feel maybe 5.5 before. It feels
You
more
gave
natural.
you gave that a four.
Right. Okay.
I gave it a seven. That's probably one that I wish I could take back. Because I don't listen to the album at all. The songs are decent,
Yeah, there's a
but
couple of yacht rap songs on it.
no, it has some songs on it.
This is
But
some-
I would say for at least this podcast, the album mode podcast,
uh,
this was the start of us being worried about Drake sonically.
yes,
I,
I remember
I
that.
would say this was the start of us being like, oof, he's almost a caricature of himself.
Yeah,
And we were very, very worried at this time. Let's fast forward to the following year. About 10 months later, he drops this album, Honestly Never Mind. Do you remember the score that you gave it?
that was a seven for me.
We actually had the same score at a 6.5.
Okay,
This is one of the albums that I think has aged better
I agree.
since it has come out. We've talked about this on the pod before. Go back and check our actual review and our look backs at Honestly Nevermind.
Hmm.
I think this is the album that when you talk about the album two and album three, Habibti and Maid of Honor, you get some of this on those
Yeah,
projects.
yes, I agree.
So I Honestly Nevermind, very important in Drake's discography. Second album in the same year,
Hmm.
in November, he drops Her Loss. This is both our highest rated Drake album of this entire era. Do you remember that the score you gave it?
I think I gave it a seven. I think I maybe even 7.5, and I think you were like 8.5 or something like that.
You gave it a 7.5. I gave it an 8.
Okay,
I think these two are the best albums of this Drake era in 2022, like
sure.
of this whole time. And I think before we even go to our other reviews, the listener, keep these two albums in mind when we talk about Iceman. Because I
Okay.
think this was the proof of concept that he can still be good at these kind of sounds, even though he hasn't replicated it much since 2023. For All the Dogs.
Yeah, I was pretty low on that. I think
Do you
that
remember the
was
score you gave it?
five-ish, very five.
You gave it a four. I gave it a six. Composite score of a five. You put those two together.
Yeah.
Um, this was, I think, peak being worried for me. For All the Dogs had more songs that I didn't think were good. Period.
Yeah.
Now it had some good records, but I think when we talk about how Drake is viewed as a celebrity and as a musician, this was the album where I said, "Oh, that whole mix is kind of out of whack."
Hmm.
So not my favorite album, but again, people loved it. It did very well. And then last but not least, or maybe least, Sexy Songs for You in
Yeah.
February 2025. Do you remember the
That was
score
a
that you
three.
gave it?
That was a three, maybe even a two, I think. I think in my heart I felt two, but I said three.
You gave it a two. You
Okay.
followed your heart.
Okay.
You did the right thing. I gave it a 5.5. Since that album came out, I have heard so many people tell me I listen to it all the time. It's on repeat. I'm like, now still?
Yeah, for
Still.
real. Wow.
And songs like Somebody Loves Me and Nokia,
Yeah, Nokia was good. I like Nokia a
when,
lot.
when I heard those songs in person, the reaction let me know, oh, I'm living a different life than everyone else is living.
I
So
like Nokia though. I thought it was
no,
awesome.
I like Nokia, but seeing those reactions to those songs in person, I was like, Drake is kind of the artist where he may never get critical acclaim again in his career, but he will have songs that the world loves
Hmm.
kind of continuously. And I feel like that's such a unique mix
See, LeBron, you're
from
talking a little
artists.
LeBron right now, a little
Yeah,
LeBronish.
yeah. Lakers, LeBron.
Hmm.
I want to talk about the project, of course. Iceman, we've been waiting for so long. Before we even get into like the actual songs themselves, because there's one single from here. What did I miss? Now that you've heard the project, is there a song that you said think should have been the single instead of What Did I Miss?
Should have been the single. I think Shabang. I think Shabang
Mm,
is probably the most fun song he's released since
Nokia.
Nokia. I wasn't even thinking of Nokia. And before Nokia was probably like Ratchet Happy Birthday or something like that, where I just like it's a fun song.
Hmm
When was Drake doesn't really do that much anymore, you know what I mean? Like he the songs like sometimes songs sound good, but it's not like turn up. Like this is a fun track. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of fallen by the wayside with doing that. But Shebang is just like a fun rap song. I think that it also has some jabs at Kendrick Lamar in it that are kind of fun where where he has that one where it's like that I listened to your album but it was mid, you know, skip skip skip. Hold on, let me get the exact I because I actually say this. This is
Mid, mid, mid. Skip, skip, skip.
yeah, it's like, am I upset? A bit, because he was interpolating a lot flow on this 21 Savage's song, a lot. He was interpolating that for the flow on this track. So he's like, am I upset? A bit. Last one you was dropped was shit. I did press play on that, ho. Mid, 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 skip, skip. I thought that was so funny. I don't know why. I thought that was so funny. I think Drake his beef ability is I think him having beefs is great for his music because it allows him to just sprinkle in these petty lines all over the place in his projects. And I just thought that was I don't know, that was just so funny. Like he's like you can tell on this album, he's genuinely upset.
He's petty.
Yeah,
He's
he's like
petty.
fuck everybody, man. I didn't fucking lose no fucking beef. Fuck y'all niggas.
Yeah, he said before, petty king, overseer of many things.
Oh man.
Two things you talk about, like him like having these beef lyrics.
Yeah.
He kind of admits to losing on this
Yeah.
project,
Well, he did
which
though. He did.
no, no,
Like anybody
no.
with a brain and any rational person will
hmm
tell you that he lost. Like, come on.
No, no, it's not debatable. I
Yeah.
think he definitely lost. But for him to admit that, because the last time we heard from him on Heart Part 6,
Hmm.
he was not admitting that he lost. And then the two things that I think about this project that really kind of bothered me, and this is why I think we got to talk about like what we want to hear from Drake, because on our last album you were having this whole discourse about he's so old talking about strippers and this and that, and I was like, there's a lot of guys much older than him talking about strippers. Why is it so bad when Drake does it? And
Right.
on this album, it's very much I hate Kendrick, I hate A$AP Rocky, and I hate the label. It's like him versus those three people. Like that's like most of what this album is. And I thought to myself, 'cause I felt this way on Scorpion. I said, I actually hate when Drake drops an album coming off of a beef because we get so many bars about the beef. And it's like the beef continues on the album.
Hmm.
But I said to myself, what do we want Drake to talk about? Because the narrative has come up again online, which I think is like again, it's a Drake specific thing. It's like why can't Drake talk about those things that rappers talk about? You know, it's like Benny the Butcher is however old, and he's still talking about cocaine, like he's still in
Yeah.
the streets. So my question is for you, and I want to hear from the fans as well. You can comment on Spotify, you can comment on YouTube. What do we want Drake to talk about that this whole thing's coming from, or is it just it's Drake, so we treat it differently? But I'm like, I even thought I spent basically all the time since this album came out listening and being like, what is the thing I want him to say that he's not saying? Because I don't think we have an answer, but we're still just kind of saying, don't talk about what everyone else talks about. Even though I think his lyrics are different.
Hmm.
Even on the intro, he talks about his dad having cancer, him turning 40 soon.
Yep.
So it's like, what is that thing we want to talk about that he's not talking about? What is that? Is it? Do you have something in mind that you think it is?
This is what I'm talking about, where I'm like, artistically, I just feel like he's just out of ideas. Like I've been saying this for a
Yeah.
while. Like I just think he's just the I he's out of ideas, not in the sense that he can't create a song, but in
hmm
the sense of like he is gonna pick an idea, execute at a high degree, like a high level. I just not convinced that I'm just not convinced that he can do that anymore. I'm at the point now, not that he is not doing it, but like convinced that he cannot. Like he's not there anymore. Like he can't do it.
I think
Just,
you're talking differently than I'm talking. I'm talking more like lyrically. Like I think
but
sonically
that's part
he's
of
in
it.
different place, but I because
Like
we
we
got to
don't
talk about
think,
Maid of Honor. But Maid of Honor and Habibti are the versions of that. Like a lot of people say Maid of Honor is the best out of the three of them. I don't agree
okay,
with that. But Maid of Honor has a lot of those sounds that you're saying he doesn't do as much anymore. Like he's doing them again on Maid of Honor. That's like
yeah,
14
but
of those.
it's not very good. Like it's not good, bro. The song with popcorn, I'm not. Come on,
No,
like come on,
that's the worst one. But
come on.
there's good songs
Like
on that. That's the worst one for sure.
yeah,
But there's good songs on that project. My thing is more about what he's actually saying. And I think
Mhm.
like you were like leading towards it and we're kind of right where is there nothing left for him to say in the same way? Because this is where I'm bringing my music industry brain into this from knowing artists and working with artists basically every
Mhm.
day. Is I think he is one of the best writers, period, at talking about emotions. That is
Sure,
like where he really thrives.
yeah,
Now he's been so good at it for so many albums. Has he talked about every emotion already? Like
it's
is
possible.
the is there a part of that? And then I think about one thing that's made Drake as big as he is as an artist is he talks about what he's going through. Like he's always been that. Like I've listened to So
Yeah,
Far Gone a lot, like before this album came out, and you hear him on So Far Gone talking about the next steps in his life, like moving out his mom's crib, becoming a big artist, like. And so he gives us all these stages accurately. So even though this album is very much fuck ASAP, fuck Kendrick, fuck UMG,
hmm,
that's real. That's actually what's happening.
yeah,
Now, personally, I think Drake is in this space where we see so much of it without him talking about it that we're like, sorry, the internet's already covered this, Drake. Like
yes,
the podcasters have beat us into the ground. We don't want to hear it from you. So maybe that's not even his fault. The
yeah.
podcasters have already beat into the ground. We don't hear from him. But I'm like, I don't even know what that thing is that I want to talk about because I don't want to hear a bunch of bars about Adonis. I don't want to hear a bunch
Yeah.
of bars about that. I don't really want to hear about whatever him and his crew are doing every day. Like, I don't want to hear about that. I guess more what I want to hear, and I'll kind of move on after this, but like, now that I'm saying it out loud, I actually want to hear what Drake thinks of the world in general. Like, I don't need it to be political. I don't need it to be like, the whole Palestine bar with DJ Khaled. Like, I don't need
He
more of those
sniped him with that,
things.
by the way. He got
Big,
him out.
killed
He was
him.
like from 500 feet away, sniped him. That was crazy.
I don't need more of those. But
Hmm.
I think of an interview shot a couple of times last year, and we were talking about like what his next stage is going to be in his career. Shad, Kenyan rapper, Peabody Award winner, is like how you look at the world now that you've been this old, or you've seen the world.
Right.
Drake has seen parts of the world we have never seen. Drake has been around long enough from his perspective. So it's like, how do you view things now? Like when Drake has that bar in um the first record, the intro, where he says, I gotta father my mother and treat my son's grandfather like is like my older brother.
Hmm.
Talk about that. That's part of aging. Like even me, I think about that at times when I'm quote unquote fathering my mother,
Right.
or my dad has now become my older brother and less my dad. Like that's part of, getting older. I don't say growing up because, we're in our 30s, he's entering his 40s,
Hmm.
but that's what I want to hear is like these life things that are not like only things people go through them.
When he makes his songs now, it sounds old because we already talked about we, as in a collective, everybody else except for him, have already talked about
Hmm.
this ad nauseum. So for us, another person, even though that he's directly involved in it, is mentioning is like, yeah, bro, we got it. Like I get it. And I and I think that what you're talking about when it comes to rapping about his father and stuff, that takes like almost like an ego death. Now asking him, you're not
Yes.
asking him to be like, hey, I know you've been Drake for like 15 years. Can you be Bob Dylan?
No, be Aubrey. You're being
Yeah,
Drake. Be Aubrey
yeah,
for a second. Yeah.
right. So you're like wanting to change him into this songwriter, which but it's solely songwriter, like which I feel like he's never done. And again, it takes like a different. You're talking about a different strain of artist, right? You're
It's a
talking about like
different.
you're asking him to become like Rod Wave,
Well,
basically.
it's funny you mentioned that. I think it's a different era of Drake where he did that.
Hmm.
Like I think the So Far Gone comeback season Drake is more that. since he's been, big album trap Drake. That's not been the case.
Right.
I want to talk about a song that I don't like.
Okay.
Okay, this song is like, I don't want to say despicable to me, but like I'm never into it. And I've heard a couple people tell me this is their favorite song on the album,
Okay.
and I want to highlight it because I'm like, this is actually the genius of Drake, is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Run to Atlanta.
I hate that song.
I We're on the same page. Don't like that song at all. But that is the genius of Drake, that there is somebody in this world who this is their favorite song on the album, the song they saved right away, the song they love.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of the part where we all have our own favorite sides of Drake.
You know
Like
who
this is
love
everybody.
you know who loves this song? People who love Playboy Cardi but don't know why. That's why those are people that love this song because I'm like, this is a Playboy Cardi song, really
Well,
production wise.
all the people that I know who like the song aren't Playboy Cardi fans,
See,
but
that's what I'm saying.
you could be right in that. But I think like a song like this kind of opened my eyes to even how I view Drake, because Iceman is the first time Drake has done the full rap album that we've been asking for years,
Hmm.
since the beginning of this podcast. So in theory, we should be very excited that he finally did this. But I realized myself, I don't like all these other kinds of Drake rap. You
Right.
know, I want to hear a shebang and make them cry. That's my kind of Drake
Yeah.
rap.
Yes.
Run to Atlanta ain't my kind of Drake rap.
Most artists, 90% of them, they have an idea and then they execute said idea and they're like, for example, Charlie XCX is a great example. I have this idea for Brat. I have this idea of like this soundscape. It
Hmm.
exists in this space, and I'm gonna make it so good everybody's coming to that space, right?
Hmm.
Versus where Drake, he is a point now where he's like, I gotta give, the 10% that love trap, I gotta give them their piece, and then I gotta give the 10% that love the R&B, I gotta give them their couple of pieces, and then I got my 10% that loves like the yacht rappy type of sound. I'm gonna give them their piece, and then I'm gonna give each person their piece. So but it's made it so his music, where like a song like Shabang, and then Dust, which I fucking hate, um, can exist on the
Same.
same album. And it's not like I made this space, I'm pulling everybody in. He's like, I'm actually just dropping my pins in many different locations just so I can get that portion, they're gonna like that portion, they're gonna like that, and that portion, right? And he's like pulling from each of these spaces versus create the space, everybody jump in, right? So
What?
when he has like a hip hop album like this, primarily, there isn't like what is there a Drake sound? What is a Drake sound? What is a Drake song now?
Oh,
What does that
you're
even
setting me
sound like?
up. I have the answer for this, but one thing I want to mention before I give you the answer, because it's really in my notes.
Okay.
I think these two things you're naming are just viewed differently.
Okay.
I think how effective each one is kind of eye of the beholder. Because in my mind, I think there's someone who loves Dust, even though we don't love Dust,
Hmm.
and that's added to their playlist or whatever because that's that's what they like. There's people I know in my life who have never heard of one song off of Bratz.
Right.
And so it's like you kind of get both sides where maybe you hear two or three Drake songs because he does this thing,
Hmm.
but if Brat's not your vibe, Brat's not your vibe. I think the Brat version is kind of viewed like as more an elite thing to do artistically.
I agree.
I think we frown upon this thing.
Hmm.
But for me as like a music industry person, I see the value in both of them. And I just understand that we're not gonna view them both as if they're both good. It's like we like this, we don't like this.
Right.
But I think about it when, for example, having someone, if you have that one Drake song saved, that's a gateway drug.
Right.
Like that's a gateway. If you never have a Brat song saved, that's the whole. You someone got to really put you into that world. So I
Hmm.
just want to highlight, like, I don't think either of them are actually wrong, but I do agree with you that the Brat thing is viewed way more favorably than what Drake is doing on here. The
Yeah.
Drake hip hop sound though is National Treasures to me.
National
National
Treasures.
Treasures to me sounds like Galchester, which came out what 9 years ago now, 8 years ago now. And National Treasure again isn't what I want to hear from Drake all the time. Like I
Yeah.
like that song. Like to me, that's the version of like party Drake that I like. Like Run to Atlanta, it's not my kind of party Drake, but National Treasure is more in my wheelhouse. He's like more rapping on it. But to me, National Treasure is like what the Drake sound is in the 2020s. Like I feel like he
Wow.
has a bunch of versions of that National Treasure type of song.
Yeah.
And I think it's more him because who can you name that does that sound?
No, nobody really, but that sound is not particularly good. Like it's this very dark and ominous, but skeletal production that he has really been. He's been doing this since. If you're reading this, it's too late. I think this type
Hmm.
of song. I mean, for some people, when it came out, when it's if you're reading this, it's too late. When it came out, everybody was like, "This is the best Drake album, big Drake rap album, particularly." Right? Until Nothing Was the Same basically came out. But
Hmm.
they were like, this is the best rap album Drake has ever dropped. And it has a bunch of this sound, but that shit was like 10 years ago. Like he is repurposing an idea from 10 years ago, and it's still something we're like, oh yeah, this is where you're saying, like, this is what the Drake rap sound is. What? This hasn't changed in 10 years? We have to be honest here. That is not something that should be acceptable. Like, you should not be repurposing your sound from 10 years ago to be like, yeah, this is the rap sound. And how far trap, look how far
I
trap
don't
has
know.
progressed since that. And you're like, oh yeah, this is
I
the
don't know if I
core
agree with
Drake
that.
rap sound. That doesn't make any sense to me, bro.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think you have like a specific affinity as Demar Grant for the new what's latest. I don't think the rest of the world thinks that way. And I think that like if you're like again, Not Such is my favorite song on here. I do like the song. It's not my favorite song, but I don't see like the need to switch the sound in the same way that you do. I think he has to do a better job of it because Galchester I heard literally last summer in the club and it still went up.
Right.
So the idea of like it's something's broken here, I don't think is accurate because again, know yourself from if you're reading this too late, still comes on and has a reaction. I
Yeah.
think the difference is I'm naming two songs that are better than this song.
Right.
That is more the difference. I think the sound itself isn't broken. The version of it because this is the 2020s version. I think that the 2010s version he did of this sound was actually better. The 2020s version is more, you're right, more ominous, more dark, and two, the tone of these songs isn't jovial and like let's get hype.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like my enemies hate me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something about it. So I think like that. That's why I kind of brought up the like F Universal, F Kendrick, F ASAP on here is like
Mm-hmm.
those themes in the lyrics affect some of these records.
Yeah.
Now,
Because
sometimes it's fine, but it affects the records.
Yeah, because this is a lyric. This is a genuine lyric inside of National Treasures. I'm so happy you brought this up. This is the last. This is the last lyric before the last chorus. Ironic, because the Iceman was the nice man. Now I'm hot and
Oh
cold.
yeah.
The lyrical deterioration of Drake's music is astounding. I mean, his rapping. This is probably genuinely the worst he's ever rapped to me. I think. I think so.
No,
He
I
is
don't think so.
such a lazy rapper now. I love this because we're I in the first listen that I had of this album, I'm like, this guy's using similes 24/7.
Oh my
This guy
God.
is simile
He's gone
lit,
back to the simile well.
bro. I'm looking at this is from one song, okay? This is from Make Them Pay, and I literally at the very top of my notes, I'm like lazy similes, like that's what I just put. But this is this song is criminal when it comes to the similes. Okay, I'm gonna just read them to you. I've got I'm I done got my shit inside arenas like Gilbert Arenas. And like Dipset, that's just one. These are all one liners, by the way. And like Dipset, they really mean it. Yeah. Here's another one. And I face the way they paint me, but it hurts like the Philly Eagles. Um, like like what else? Here we go. I rack up a tab in Chanel because I do buy everything like a Middle Eastern. Um, other than me talking about the way I'm flipping dough like Little Caesars. This is what I'm talking about where I'm like the deterioration is tragic. Like this is genuinely bad. This is bad. Why are we afraid to say that is bad? Like we're afraid to say that is bad, but if anybody, this is from one song, okay? And then
Hmm.
there's still more, but I don't want to belabor the point. This is not good. This is like not good. Like why are we afraid to say that that's not good? Like that's not good. There are way better ways to express these ideas in hip hop, right? You don't have to use a simile every time. These are all from one song. This is just
No,
one song that I'm talking about, and it's
I noticed
littered
it
on
too.
all the other songs.
He went simile heavy on that one. The one thing I will say, because I do want to talk about the intro Make 'em Cry. I have some lyrics for that.
Hmm.
But I think Drake does these things that are like real hip hop things that I'm like, oh, this is like he has a section where he has all these inside rhymes
Yeah,
and does them over and over again. And I'm like, this is the rap nerd coming out in Drake, where it's like, oh, like your fans may not appreciate this, but like this is for hip hop that you did this. So what do you think about Too Hard for the Radio?
Too Hard for the Radio. That could have been a single as well.
You
Um,
think so?
yeah, I
Okay,
think
I
that
don't
that's
like that one.
I like that song. I know it's a little Bay Area influence, obviously.
Mm.
But
It's a Mac Dre interpolation.
yeah, so like I just thought it was a like maybe I'm in a different space where I'm like, yo, what about like remember when Drake was a vibe like fun times Drake? That was cool. Like maybe we should bring that part back a little bit instead of just being singular, insular, dark, like just constantly needling people, himself and other people. I feel like he's just constantly he's like a guy, ever seen that torture device where it's just like the nails are just like protruding out of this coffin and they used to put people inside of that coffin and then just like close it and that's how they would torture and kill people. I feel like Drake is the constructor of that device but also lives inside of it. Like he is constantly just needling people, needling himself. There's a constant just needle. And I'm like, there are times when you were chilling and it was a good time. And it was a vibe. Like, what happened to those times, bro?
Maid of Honor is all that fun, Drake.
Right.
And again, I didn't love it on first listen. I've grown on a couple of songs, but from what people are telling me outside, that's what's playing outside is Maid of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think it's like he's kind of separating these two parts of him. My two favorite songs on here, which I want to actually get to mention. I didn't talk about them at all before I talk about my last set of lyrics. One is Little Birdie. That's my favorite song on here.
Okay.
That's the Kodak flow. That's the one for me. I think when that comes on in a summer day party, you're gonna see some footwork for some people you
Okay.
never seen dance before. But it's clearly biting the Kodak flow. There was a Kodak song that leaked a few months ago. I don't know if it's the same record, but again, clearly biting that Kodak flow. The sound. This is like that fun Drake, but he's still talking his shit. What I've compared it to is the motto.
Okay.
And when the model came out a few years ago, I know you're old enough to remember Démar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was like crack hit the streets.
Yeah.
Everyone started Dougieing right away. Like the Dougie was back when
Yeah.
the
People
model
were
came out.
people were unironically saying YOLO.
Yeah, no, it was really a
Unironically.
thing. And the other one, this is a song I feel like is everyone's favorite, is Janice Shut the Fuck Up. Janice
Mm-hmm.
STFU.
Mm-hmm.
This one I thought was cool at first.
Me
I
too.
didn't I didn't really like it that much, but that hook, you listen to that hook once and it's just green tea,
Oh, I
baby.
love that you're bringing this up. This, again, we listen to views and then you listen to this. Do you think that Drake is even in the same realm as views Drake in singing at this point?
Oh no, no,
Like
no,
it's
no,
not even
no.
close. It is so, again, bad. Like this is not good. We
You
have
don't like the voice
examples.
modulation?
I don't think it works for him. Not in this way. Not like that. Not
Ah.
like this. I don't think it's working for. He has another song where he legitimately sounds like Playboi Carti.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think it's working for him. I don't know. I
I,
don't know what I'm trying to figure out what it is, but I just don't think it's working for him. Like I'm not. He's trying to go for this like lower register singing that portion.
mhm.
It wasn't. It sounded
I
it sounded weird.
I think it worked. I think like a big part of this review that I'm getting from your side is you very much have an expectation of what you either think Drake can do or what you want him to do.
Yes.
And I think every song is up against that.
Yes.
I think that it's hard for you to look at a Drake song as like a separate new record that is like, because for example, he's done this kind of like modulation before. Like it's a little bit on Honest Nevermind.
Hmm.
It really comes through. Like nothing was the same as like his first like start of it. Not as heavy,
Yeah.
but his first start of it. Um, but I said I agree with you. He's not a better singer than he was on Views. Like that's not even
Not
a
even
question.
close. It's not even
But
close.
here's the thing that I realized, and I've always said this about Drake. I like his voice modulation because I personally put limits on Drake as a singer. That's just me.
Okay.
I've been listening to Drake since 2006.
Yeah.
Okay, we're 20 years now. I don't think Drake is gonna ever be that good of a singer.
Right.
Now he's better compared to him, but even that one song, "No Guidance" with him and Chris Brown, you hear the difference instantly in the level of singing. So I think as much as Drake can improve, the kind of songs he's going to be able to make are going to be limited by how well he can sing. And we
Hmm.
talk about that on a lot of reviews in this podcast. If you know this podcast, we always mention kind of the limits on an artist from their level of singing.
Yes.
Most notably, from my mind, is Brent Faiyaz on his last project.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I think Drake has those limits as well. And so I think to me, this modulation and this hook, which is a interpolation of a Leaky Lee record,
Yeah.
but I feel like that is kind of like the artistic genius there of I don't have the actual chops to do that on my own, but it can sound cool, modulated, and it can be a thing. And people love that record. That's probably the record I think I'm hearing the most as people's favorite. But
Hmm.
I think that kind of unique thing there, excuse me, that's kind of sorry, go ahead, sorry, before you go ahead,
Yeah.
that's why I said like Drake is still important musically
Hmm.
because this is the record only Drake is doing. Like how he raps towards the end of it has this interesting hook. Because even the like R&B guys who have a similar sound to this, like Bryson Tiller at a certain time or Black at a certain time, those guys can actually sing more. They
Right.
wouldn't do the modulation he's doing.
Right. You know what
So
I
it's
was
like
thinking?
these are the kind of records he can do, only he will do.
Yeah, I think, another example of for this chorus is like, wouldn't it have just been better if Future did that hook? Wouldn't have just been
Mm.
better if it was just Future? That's what I'm talking about, where I'm like, the singing is not as good, or the thing is not working for him, because I'm like, there are examples of artists that I think could have done this and it would have just been better.
Mhm.
And Future is an artist where I'm like, if Future had just done that chorus, I think it would have just hit better. It would have just
That's
been
a good
better.
one. What I'm thinking is who will do it. I think like that is kind of the part that I do. I hate to have like any empathy or sympathy for Drake in this sense because he
Hmm.
doesn't need it. But listening to this album, even the songs that I don't love, I'm like, yeah, like who else is doing this? We can say people can do it,
Hmm.
but people use their tools to do worse songs.
Right.
So I think like that's where I'm like, yeah, we almost will never as a group, as a society, as a music culture be able to look at Drake properly because you're right. I like the Future pull was actually Chef's Kiss. And that would Future just on that hook would be so good.
Yeah.
But what are the chances Future even makes this song, period?
Right.
Basically zero. So it's like we're not giving him credit for actually making the song. It's not as good,
Hmm.
but it's like there's someone else with the same tools who would never make the record. So it's like both sides kind of got to get a little bit of what to
Hmm.
say, like a little bit of flack for it. It's okay. This is my last thing. I'm about to go to my lyrics, okay? Because I talked a
Okay.
bunch about what I like, what I don't like, and in the comments, I want to know what everybody thinks. Your favorite song from Iceman in the comments,
Yes,
please
please.
and thank
Please.
you. One song we haven't named is "Bees on the Table." I'm not going to talk about it, but I just feel like some people said it's their favorite song on the album. For you,
Oh,
for you people, I'm mentioning it. Okay,
get
you know,
away
listen to
from me.
you listen to basketball podcasts and they go, "What about this guy?" And they listen to every player on the roster. That's me right now. Beats on the table. It's mentioned, but I think even the wherewithal that Drake has that this is someone's favorite song because there's two songs on here that I don't like basically at all. That's
Hmm.
people's favorite song, and I think like this is the actual space personally where I'm like he's I don't want to say he's ahead of us in a sense. He's a
Hmm.
different place than us. Because if I was in that studio with Drake. don't put this out, fam.
Yeah.
Keep this. Don't put it
Yeah,
out.
hang on to that
He's,
one.
you get what I'm saying? So the wherewithal from him, his team, whoever's involved, to maybe even understand that Adriel and Démar won't like it,
Hmm.
but two other people will. That is a talent in itself.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know how to like, quantify that or give that credit. We both independently didn't like Ran to Atlanta, but I've heard people say favorite song on here. We both independently don't like Beats on the Table. Someone else favorite song on here. So that I don't know what you call that skill. I don't know how to quantify that skill, but that's a skill Drake has had during the 2020s, which I don't get it every time. With almost every time, it's like, nah, I don't like this. Like the song with Adonis on For All the Dogs.
Yeah.
Didn't like that record. People are listening to it. So I got to give him his credit. Make Them Cry the series or Make Them series.
Yeah.
I like him doing that. It kind of, again, it's like the new timestamp. I think this is something where it's Make Them Cry, then Make Them Pay, then
Make
Make
them
Them
remember.
Remember,
I
then
like
Make
make
Them
the
Know,
oh, make them know. Oh yeah,
the
that's a
last
great
one.
last one.
Yeah. Make Them Remember is your favorite, you're saying?
Make them remember is my favorite. I think that's like an actual that's I think I wrote this in my notes. Hold on, let me say it. I wrote this in my note. Um there you go. This is the best response to the beef. This is the best response. This song is his best song in a while. The lounge-like music helps his nostalgia reminiscent elements of the song, right?
100% agree.
This is the first song where I would, when it finished, this is the only song actually. When it finished, was like, wow, this lounge nostalgia style, which is a yacht rap, which is effectively yacht rap, but this sound is what a Drake rap song should sound like. Always, this is what his rap song should sound like because it's like super Freddie Gibbs. It's like super. It's like in a space where Freddie Gibbs is I would say cooler than Drake, but Drake bars because of his outside persona. Every lyric you're hanging on to, what he's gonna say next, what he's gonna say next, what he's gonna say next, right? And because he is the king of reminiscing, I don't know how many times he's been able to been saying that on his music, and nostalgia. It is an actual space where he's just the best here. There's nobody else that can really do this. There's nobody else that can we're talking about internal rhymes and like the variation in the flows. It's a series, like this is in a series of songs. Like he's the only person that I can really say that can have those like prongs to an idea and grip it in this type of sound, what we're rapping about, and nobody else is there. And that is kind of, we used to say this about Drake all the time. This is like now one of those rare spaces where I'm like, he's the only person really in here because the only people I can think of who are kind of like this are like Nux, right?
Hmm.
Nux, Freddie Gibbs to an extent, and that's kind of it. Like, because it's not quite Rick Ross, and it's far away from Larry June. So it's like this throwback lounge, like lounge. I don't think hip hop fans even think about lounge music at all. But lounge music, the piano, it's jazzy. We're relaxing on, in the back of the club. We're in the secret room, the private room,
Hmm.
and he's just here talking to people. That's where he is, and that's a thing that only he can do. If he dropped, I'm in the Masoni room at the Bibelos in this. I'm telling you, this is all anybody would be talking about off of this album. So I think that this song is where his rap music should be going.
I,
Like,
I agree. I agree.
yeah,
I think that's like his genre.
yeah.
Like
Nobody
he
else is
like
touching him there. Nobody.
since So Far Gone, even though like Say What's Real wasn't his beat, like from that time, Say What's
Hmm.
Real, Congratulations. Like this is where he thrives. Make Them Pay, I like a lot because I think Make Them Pay, he's telling the story of him, trying to become independent and the whole thing that happened.
Right.
And this Make Them series, and this is something I said basically at the end of GNX because we were talking about what's happened to all the big three and what they drop next.
Hmm.
And I think Drake has become so popular that he's viewed through the Taylor Swift lens as like popular artist more than musician.
Right.
But so much of this is musician. Now it's not always great, but it's the attempt. It's the not doing something that everyone else is doing.
Right.
And the Make Them series, having a series in an album like this, incredible. And
Yeah,
I think this is kind of the thing I thought when I said, you know, these are all some of the better records on this whole project. Like you take these
absolutely.
songs off the project, the whole project is
That should
different.
have been its own EP. Really, the make them cry, make them pay, make them remember, make them know I'm not really a big fan, except for the very, very,
Mm,
very end. I love that part, but this should have been its own EP. This is a sound that he can
yes,
genuinely
it's
build off of. Genuinely.
its own. And when I said I want a Drake rap album, that's what I want.
Right.
Give me throw Shabang and a little Birdie in there once in a
Yeah.
while, but give me mostly to Make Them series. And I think like this is part of why I'm highlighting Make Them Cry and why I kind of want to end on this in terms of the music
Hmm.
is th- and I talked so much in this review about how Drake is viewed, but I'm actually going to stay there because I think me seeing how Drake is viewed from other people brought this to my attention.
Okay.
This series in this album, if Kendrick Lamar had done this, the way people would be talking about this would be completely different. You get what I'm
Yes.
saying? Completely different is how people were talking about this. And
Yep.
no one's really mentioning this Make Them series as like the highlight of this album or so genius he did it because it bookends the album. It's some of
Too
the
much
highlights of the
fucking
project.
music. He has dropped too much music. Continue.
No, for sure. But I think that there is a certain way that he's viewed that is separate from the actual music.
Right.
Because if these were all bad songs, we would be talking about it.
Yeah.
If every Make Them was horrible, we would be like, you're trying to do something you can't really do, Drake. Like, give it up.
Hmm.
And I think like when he does this and you're like, it should have been an EP, it's the best part of the album, Make Them Remember as your favorite. It's like that doesn't like when it's good, we don't talk about it being good. We
Right.
only are there to highlight the bad. And so this Make Them series kind of showed that to me because I was like, yeah, the Make Them thing he's doing is actually such a like genius way to talk about the beef. He
Yeah.
talks about it otherwise, but to have these songs be like, okay, you see a song on the album, we know what it's gonna be about. We can see even on Make Them Pay when he talks about I'm not suing Kendrick, I'm suing the label. It's a different. You're like, so this being his avenue to like talk about everything he has to talk about, like I think we got to give it more credit. It's almost like the ask for Drake is higher and the actual delivery is higher, but he won't get that credit for. So something I think to mention. Let's talk about Make Them Cry.
Yeah. Well, I think this is just overall, when it comes to just like everything, too much fucking music, bro. He dropped, what is this, 18 songs, and then Habibdi is about, what is this,
14. I
14,
think it's I think
11,
it's 43 songs in total for all three
and
albums.
we're talking about 4 songs. That's less than 10%.
But I
We're
no,
talking
but
about
I thought
less than 10%. We're highlighting. We're like,
mhm.
he's so brilliant for doing this one thing in less than 10% of his album or
No,
his music.
but this what you're saying is kind of you're saying what I'm saying because this isn't one album. So even talking about the percentage of this album and all the albums,
Yeah.
that's how we're viewing Drake. Does that make any sense?
But he's
Like,
forced it into that space because he released them all at the same time. So it's impossible to be like, oh yeah,
mhm,
we're just talking about the one thing, even though we've mostly done that on this review. But
mhm.
it's like there's no way you can be like, oh, we gotta like silo it just to Iceman or just to
No,
these
no,
four
that's
songs. It's like
yeah,
he
yes.
released 40 something songs at the same time. So it's
But
impossible to be like, oh yeah, brilliant. For
but
4 songs out of the 43. Like that's ridiculous.
but no, for sure. But I'm saying they're three different sounds, so you can listen to them separately. There are separate albums,
Hmm.
very dissimilar to J. Cole dropping the Fall Off, which was two discs but one album essentially. And I think like what you're saying is not untrue, but it's part of how we're viewing Drake. Is my point.
But my
Like
thing is he forced it. He literally did that.
no, no,
He's the
no.
person who did it.
No, he did it, but my point is it's three separate sounds on three separate albums.
Right.
Like there isn't really a reason for you to combine them in a score when Habibti and Iceman are like basically two different artists.
Right.
And like, I don't like Habibti personally,
Hmm.
but it's a complete different sound from Iceman. So it's like only with Drake would we bring the two together because when J. Cole's album came out, I saw a lot of fans being love disc two, don't like disc one, or vice versa. So I think like again, because it's Drake and the anticipation is there, we kind of feel compelled to listen to all of it. it's like you can't separate it in our minds. Even though I think, and this is kind of my point, is like if another artist dropped two albums, two complete different sounds, it would be fine to be like, okay, here's the rock album,
Hmm.
here's the pop album.
Hmm.
I think again, Drake is like an omnipresent public figure, where it's like, sorry, we can't compartmentalize any part of Drake. That's kind of my point. It's not about the albums.
Hmm.
It's like we put everything together. The way I put the hip hop together of like I like hip hop Drake, but I actually hate trap Drake.
Yeah,
So it took
that's
time
true.
for me to realize, oh, actually, I hate trap Drake, but lounge rap Drake signed me up.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's part of how we've listened to him for all these years. That as fans, we just put all of it together. Because I can say I like dancehall Drake, but hate Afro Drake, or I
Hmm.
like Western Road Flows Drake, but hate Too Good Drake. So I think this is part of it where he tried, in a sense, to kind of like help us compartmentalize. And
Yeah,
you're saying, nah, nigga, we not
that's
doing
not good. It's too
that.
late. It's
Yeah,
too
it's
late.
too late.
You know, Drake's career would probably look the same, but he would be more favorably viewed critically if you just took all of take every song, right? Every song and categorize them, right? And then just make albums like just take the category and cut off the top 10, 15 songs of that category and just make it an album and then do that with every genre and he would be literally I think just as famous but more revered for his artistry, I think. But because of the release cycle or the release process of how he's made his music, it makes it now we're at a point where it's like it's incoherent. I don't know what he's trying to do anymore. You
It's
know?
too late.
Yeah. So he made it to a point now where it's like I don't know what he's trying to. I actually don't know what he's trying to do anymore. He knows maybe, but I don't know what he's trying to do anymore because when you listen to Maid of Honor, this is a different album completely. Like it sounds completely different, different genres, different people. Like Sexy Red is on it, Central C is on it. But I'm like, what are we trying to? What is he trying to do? Like I don't understand. Like I feel lost on what this guy is trying to do now.
I think that's a you thing, and I feel like this is part of kind of where I realize as I'm like I'm in the same boat as you as like looking at Drake analytically and critically,
Hmm.
and I'm like Drake's not gonna win that battle. That is gone. Like that piece of his career is
But he did that
past.
but he did that to himself though. That's
No,
the
no,
thing
but no,
that gets to me. He did it to himself.
but I think we're almost treating it like he wants that, and we're like there's no evidence that he wants that. From the albums he's making, there's no evidence that he wants that.
Hmm.
Because he's made two albums in this era, Her Loss and Austin Nevermind, that are more what you're saying. And then he chose to not do that after that.
Yeah.
And even on this album and this rollout, I think actually is that. And I guess we gotta see what he does next, quote unquote,
Hmm.
because this is the first time he's done three albums at once and three albums that are like all different sounds.
Hmm.
But personally, I don't know that Drake is looking for that critical acclaim. Like I think it's weighs more to us because this is what we're doing. We're literally doing it live.
Hmm.
But I think like that's clearly not the battle for him. And I think also it's like in the space that he's in, the version of him in other genres it usually doesn't get critical acclaim. That makes any sense?
Hmm.
Like if you take like whoever the Drake is in country, whoever the Drake is in other genres, they may be beloved, but it's like, for example, especially from us, like Zach Bryan or Zach Brown, sorry, I would say more critically acclaimed than Morgan Wallen. Morgan
Right.
Wallen, stratosphere.
Yeah, way more famous.
So so it's like we're kind of finding that thing of like you may have all this and everyone listens to you, but you don't have this.
Hmm.
But I think like critical acclaim from the fans is what lasts longer, quote unquote, is my point. And so I think like I don't see the evidence of Drake trying to get a 10 on album mode. Like he could have made that album and he didn't make that album. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
He put the bees on the table and ran to Atlanta on there to get, those guys to like those songs. Because if he doesn't put those on here, and the same with Dust or even Plot Twist, Drake's score definitely goes up on this review if he does
Yeah.
that. So my point is, I'm not seeing evidence of him trying to go for that. So in a sense, he's achieving what he's going for And does that make any sense? Because
Yeah,
he's not trying to get a good score from us.
yeah,
Because if he was trying to do that, there's mad songs like here he could have not put on here.
yeah. From what you're saying and just like thinking about more, it's like maybe there's this quote, I think it's a Kanye quote where he was like, eventually I actually want to become invisible because my music ability is so ubiquitous that people are not even thinking about who I am anymore. And I think he drew this idea to like, I think it was like the payphone or something, or the telephone.
Hmm.
I'm gonna maybe I'm getting it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was like something like that, where it's like who invented the phone? Like you have no idea, but you use it every single fucking day, and that's how ubiquitous the use of the telephone is, right?
Drake
Where
is there.
you don't even think about who is making it, and I think that when it comes to these like now, maybe he's trying to go for that ubiquity where it's like it's his music is in so many different places. It's so ubiquitous, right? Where you go to any party, any club, any country, they're playing some version of Drake's music in their set, in their party, in their
He's
kickback,
already there, man. He's
right?
already there.
Where so maybe he's trying to go for that. Um, I guess that's working.
No, no. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna mention my list so we can actually move on.
Yeah.
That's already happened. He's already doing that,
Okay.
and I think that like what you said about him being ubiquitous, I think he's already there because you listen to R&B now. R&B is
Yeah.
a version of Drake's sound. You listen to kind of like the other sounds that Drake is a part of, versions of Drake's sound. So I think he's already there in a sense,
Mhm.
and I think like. Drake is not making music to be critically acclaimed. He's making music for you to play 1,000 times.
This is one thing that I'm going to mention. I know we're going kind of long, but again, this is a three album thing, and also it's Drake, where he said this is make them remember. For some reason, he loves to talk about Kendrick Lamar being short. I don't know why. I
I
don't know
love that.
why. Like I wrote that down. I'm like I don't know why he keeps talking about him being short.
What
Like
do you mean you don't know why? What is that? What do you mean you don't know why?
is
That's
that
like a
supposed to
basic.
offend him?
No, it's like, but it's like dissing someone on one. It's like a fat joke.
It's like
It's low hanging fruit.
it's like I'm short. Okay, okay. Like I still beat you in the beef. I still am a successful multimillionaire. I'm still people regard me now favorably to you. Like they think I'm better than you. Like okay, I'm short, and what? Prince was short. Like Bruno Mars was short. Okay, and so what? So this is on Make Them Remember. He's like, I'm gonna bring this up. You're gonna like why I brought this up. Where it's like, I'm in the battlefield, really putting boots to the ground. A booster seat for yourself and the lies you tell. But in when you actually listen to him say, he says, booster seat for yourself and the lies you tell. Did he just say? I know this is only you and I on planet Earth, or obviously people in Toronto will be able to tell this. Did he just say a booster see for yourself and the lies that you tell? Like the slang term like to boost. Like this person is boosting all the time. I feel like he did that on purpose. Am I crazy for
No, no,
thinking that?
that's what it sounds like to me too.
Like if you listen to that line, it actually says it sounds like a booster comma see for yourself instead of a booster seat for yourself. A booster seat for yourself. I don't know if that's just me, if I'm reaching or not, but it's like we live there. We are from this place. Somebody
Mhm.
would actually say that. Like this guy's a booster. Like all this person does is boost all the time. And for people who don't know, Toronto slang is to boost is means to lie or to like severely over exaggerate. Like this person's boosting crazy. You know what I mean? But it
Mhm.
could be also a lie. So I'm like, I don't know. That was just an interesting like double entendre. If you're from the city, you're the only person. Like you're one of what 3 million people live in Toronto or something like that. Like
Mhm.
you're one of X amount of million people that would even be able to see that. That he's making that type of double entendre. So I just wanted to bring it up because it was very interesting. And again, this is my favorite song, especially beef related song from him. Do you have any thoughts about the other two albums that you want to get off your chest right now?
Yeah, I do want to say something quickly about those two. I think
Do you want to do this now or at the end?
no, no. We just if we're not at the end now, then what is this
Okay.
podcast?
Okay. Okay.
Like, if
Okay.
this is not the end, then what is this podcast?
Okay.
Um, just quickly on the two, I think this is part of my thought process before of like him dropping 3 albums at once freaked everybody out.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just the truth. Like, I have friends of mine who are huge Drake fans who still haven't heard any of the music because it's just overwhelming.
Hmm.
And I think like we can't absolve him from that. Like, he basically overwhelmed the listener just with the knowledge of 3 albums. I remember when I first heard there was 3 albums, I didn't believe it. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna find time to listen to all this.
Hmm.
But I think he finally did the thing that we've been asking him to do for years, and somehow we're not giving him the credit for it. And let me not say we, because there are people who are,
Hmm.
but I think there are people who are like, meh, still too much music. Like, that is almost above
Hmm.
what he did with these 2 other albums. Habibti, I've tried to listen to that album a couple times to like get
I
a
can't do it.
feel for it. Not for me. I
This,
didn't love it. I maybe
yeah,
have 2 or 3 songs saved out of the 11.
yeah. That's the R&B Drake that I despise.
Yeah,
I've been
that's
talking
the
about that forever.
same. I don't like this kind of R&B. I like R&B Drake, but not this kind of R&B Drake. Two things I want to say about this project. One, his song with Low Shimmy. Don't love that song. But this
Mhm.
kind of to me is where Drake is, and like especially our age group. And it's funny because you're technically 21, but like the age group above us is like, I told you before when I was asking a bunch of kids who were 20 like who they're listening to, and they all
Hmm.
said Low Shimmy.
Yeah,
It's like that's why Drake is still the man with that group. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
because he's still getting the low shimmy feature.
yeah, like stuff like
Why?
that. But I'm like, how many of the artists that we're talking about are like just as popular with the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s
Hmm.
all at once? Like, that's not a thing that we see.
Yeah,
So these albums is more like to that for me of like, yeah, he's just cementing himself with every group at the same time. So I don't love this Habibti album, but
yeah,
again, like I said before we started, my brother told me that 3 different women told him on Friday this is their favorite album from Drake.
yeah. I'm
So
happy. I'm Go ahead.
different groups.
Yeah, I'm happy for them. The type of R&B that I really don't like from Drake is a slow,
Too
very
slow.
stark, synth heavy. Singing is, regressed, so it's just like not as good. And then, Sexy Red, I love you. I
Do
don't want to
you?
hear I don't want to hear you anymore. Please, bro. I've never been convinced of her as being good as an artist. I just never been. And
Yeah,
she's
she's not. She's no Ice Spice.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so this album, I just didn't think it was good, which is kind of weird because it has the best album cover, I think, out of the three.
Yeah, best album cover. Maid of Honor, I think is gonna grow on you. I just feel like you haven't been outside for real to hear that.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
dance album, which I was excited by.
mhm,
But whether or not he's executing, because here's the thing, this is for everything, right? It's cool that Drake has these ideas, right? It's great, right? But execution needs to be a part of it as well. Like just having the idea and saying like I can do that doesn't mean you can do a good job at it. And I think Maid of Honor is an example of that, where it's like, yeah, he can make that song with. I'm talking about Cheetah Print with Sexy Red.
mhm,
Sure, this dance track can be done, right? Like he can do it. It's doable. Nokia, he did. I would consider almost a disco song on Nokia.
mhm.
Um, it's doable, but is it actually good? Like that's the thing, because you can hear this, and then you listen to the Tyler the Creator album that came out last year, which is the exact same sound as this, but significantly better. So I thought it was, and like in this case, it's like it can be done, but can it be done well? And he needs to concentrate on the idea. Like I'm just like these are a ton of sketches. Like I need a full picture, and that's what I feel like is missing.
I think I'm not gonna go to bat for a bunch of these songs on Maid of Honor because I don't personally like them.
Hmm.
Um, but I think like Cheetah Print obviously is one of the bigger ones. Sexy Red, obligatory feature on a
Hmm.
Drake album at this point. But I think Cheetah Print is that song that you hear the beat and it's like this could have been anybody and it would have been out of here.
Yeah.
And I think you talked about coming to the Tyler album, which I think is a good comparison. This summer we'll report back, but the chance of you hearing the Tyler album outside is slim to none.
But it's a
Hearing this
fame
song
level. That's a
outside,
fame thing. Like Drake is just more famous than Tyler the Creator. He's just more famous.
no, no, he is more famous, but I think the actual songs of the record, like this is the part what I'm saying. Like I'm gonna give him his credit again, look, here I am giving credit again. Like Cheetah Print is a song that I've heard people talk about of like
Cheetah
they
Print
reckon.
cannot touch Ring Ring Ring. Like it can't. Come
Okay,
on. Like
I
respectfully.
I didn't I didn't love that Tyler album, so I'm not even gonna argue with you.
Okay.
That's a Démar loved album, and I'm sure people are still bumping it to this day. If you're still
Yes.
bumping it, put a
Yes.
ring in the chat if you're still listening to the
Yes.
album. But I think like you liking the Tyler album more than something like this is kind of the point I'm making of like you're not the outside guy to know what plays outside. You were the same person trying to tell me you want to hear Humble outside.
I do.
And everyone who I've mentioned that to is like, Demar's crazy. Don't bring Demar anywhere. So it's like you don't have the chops personally to know what plays outside in that same way. Drake has clearly been a master at that for years, and this album is part of that. Where two songs in particular, which one, which was already came out, and Cheetah Print, those are going to play not only at the hip hop clubs, they're going to play like outside in general.
Hmm.
So it's like the attention to detail listen that you do of these albums to be like, is this good? Is almost irrelevant. The question is, will this song play outside?
Hmm.
And the thing is, as famous as Drake is, they're not gonna play a Drake song outside if people don't want to hear it. Drake's not famous to get past that part,
Hmm.
you know. So I think that like that's the part of this that the critics like us who are like, is it good? Is it deep enough? Is everything put together correctly? It's like, yes, I like that we're doing that, but a bunch of these songs, all the test is, will it play outside? Will people like it?
Right.
That's the goal of these records. A bunch of these records will do that and are already doing it from what I heard over the first 48 hours.
Okay.
So I think there's a part of it where we have different goals for Drake than Drake has for his own records.
Yeah.
And it's like you're imposing what you think onto the record itself. And it's like, Cheetah, because here's the thing, Tyler has good records and everyone knows Tyler. Tyler's not like an unknown person.
Hmm.
So Tyler's song's not playing outside is not about Tyler himself. People don't want to hear that outside. That's really all it is. Because I've been outside and people do want to hear certain Tyler songs. Like when
Hmm.
See You Again was at its peak, people want to hear that. I was there for that. So I think the idea if we want to hear songs outside, as critics, we definitely kind of diminish that quality. But to me, that's actually one of the most important qualities of music in general. Is when there's a bunch of people in the space, what music do you want to hear?
Right.
And this album, Made of Honor, has a ton of records like that. I can't wait to see which ones stick more past the first 48 hours.
Me
But
too.
first 48 hours, what I've heard is Outside Tweaking went all the way up. Not one of my favorites. Cheetah Print got the biggest response of any
Yeah.
record
People love Sexy
played by
Red.
Drake.
I think the people, not us, the
Mm.
people, they fucking love Sexy Red.
Well, that's it. I don't. I think some people do have Sexy Red. I know some Sexy Red fans of myself,
Hmm.
but this is kind of the part that I had a conversation about this week of like people talking about Drake makes songs for women, and I'm like, this is where the narrative gets past the actual music because the person who told me Cheetah Print played in the club told me they skipped Sexy Red's part. So
Okay.
it's like we're assuming Sexy Red is a you get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
We're assuming this thing, and it's like actually no, the song itself is just a song itself. So Maid of Honor, not my favorite, but I want to give it credit because I think the critics, not just us, but just in general, we've become almost like too much like hyper granular in the way we look at these things. It's like, no, like, will it play outside? Do people like the song? It's not deeper than that, you know? It's like these three albums, especially Iceman, mean for his career. To me, this is a plus. I think that the actual quality of the music isn't on like this level we've seen from Drake even 10 years ago. But I think like in the 2020s, especially our reviews of Drake, like I think I'm the only one to give Drake a review over seven of all our
Yeah.
no, you gave her lost
Seven and a
seven and a
half.
half.
Yeah.
But like we only have one album really over seven out of the five Drake albums we've reviewed. So like the Celsius comparison, the quality of the music is like not as important as Drake. I think with Drake, we make it like the be all end all of like he's not as good anymore, or whatever. It's like no, we all still liked Nokia when it came out and played it.
Yeah, I love
That's
Nokia.
really what matters.
Yeah.
So I think for these three albums, he's achieved the Nokia test. You know, like he has enough songs that will play. He has some like rap songs that make them serious that will probably play like on our own in the
Hmm.
car.
Hmm.
But he has songs that will play outside. He has songs that will play in the car. He has songs that will play in the club. And he has so many songs here that I literally don't give a fuck about that someone has told me is my favorite song. And
Yeah.
I think
Good for
like
them.
that is something that these other artists who we kind of put beside Drake or above Drake, don't have in the same way. So for
Yeah.
me, this is a win for his career. And we talk about the comeback. Like I saw someone say online that he had to do this. Now I don't know if I agree with that, but their reasoning was, how do you cement yourself back in the marketplace after being away for so long? And he's done that. Like Drake
Mhm.
is back in the marketplace.
For his career, I guess in the sense that you're talking about, where it's like the songs, there are going to be songs that play in places. Fine,
That's all that matters.
fine, fine. Like, do I think it's good for his career? I mean, I guess it helps him move past the beef, which I think is good for him. Uh, the rollout was solid, and people were invigorated for Drake music, which I think is a plus as well. So I guess it is good for his career, but not in the sense that what we talk about with other artists, where it's like, the music is sick, we're seeing progression. It's more of like a persona type of progression for him that is good. Um, yeah.
I think he's earned that. Like it's so funny because I since the beef I've looked at all these careers so differently. And like I think about the Beatles. Like the Beatles are such an anomaly historically
Mhm.
because a group full of young men who are like a boy band essentially historically don't get looked at as favorably as artists as the Beatles have.
Mhm.
Like you don't see four young men singing together and be like, yeah, they're artistic genius. And I think that like all the legacy acts going like back and forward, so many of them have two or three solid albums.
Mhm.
Like that's really where it ends. Drake has already surpassed that amount of albums that we actually like. Like
Right.
he's well past that number. And basically the nostalgia of, oh my God, they were such a big act, or I remember this. That's what kind of keeps these artists favorable in your head. It's like you may only like two Janet Jackson albums. The fact that Janet is popping and touring or whatever, that's enough to still love Janet.
Right.
And I think Drake has like not gotten that kind of grace because he's like still in the field in a way.
Mhm.
But looking what it means for his career, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna remember that Drake was in year 20 of his career and still popping.
Right.
And that's gonna mean something 20 years from now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're
He's
gonna go back and listen to the good stuff. We're not gonna like
Yep.
this stuff not being as good is not gonna matter because it doesn't matter for any of the other legacy artists.
Mhm.
It's like Nickelback still put music out. That people don't know that they're not. No one's checking for their new album. That doesn't matter. So
Right.
I think in the moment, because it's Drake, he's so omnipresent. He's a rapper. We take this hyper analytical look at all what he's doing. But for again the history of legacy artists over the past 80 years, every single legacy artist is like, oh, you got three albums I love? Cool.
Goat. Yeah.
That's enough for me.
Yeah. So I think it's a plus for him. I will say New Bestie is a good song. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, so what do you think about the covers? I think
Oh
the
man.
Iceman cover is not good. I think that he
I like
that's
the
a
Iceman
fumble.
cover.
I think it was a major fumble compared to it could have been the ice sculpture, it could have been him made of ice. I think it was a missed opportunity
Man,
in
it's
representing
so
himself.
crazy how we're
Who
so
gives a
different on
shit
this.
about this? Nobody gives a fuck, bro. Like nobody gives a shit about this hand signal.
What do you mean what do you mean by no one gives a shit? What is that? What do you mean by that?
Like it's not cool. It's not cool. Nobody's ever said him doing that six hand signal. Nobody's ever said that was cool. I've never heard it ever. Literally
The,
never in my entire life.
I don't know if people talk like that is cool. Like that's a weird way to talk, but people definitely think it's cool. Like people definitely do it and think it's cool. So that's like this is where I'm like, you don't think it's cool. That's a you thing. People definitely do it and think it's cool. Like that's the thing
I've
that
never seen
happens.
anybody do this hand signal ever in my entire life.
We're two different types of outside, man.
I
People
guess because
definitely.
I can say that for a fact. I've never seen anybody do this hand signal.
I've seen mad people do it. It's a thing that people do. So that part is like, and again, this is kind of why I wanted to like have you clarify because I'm like, this cover is not for you who is not in that life or knows those people. For the people who do that single and know it, this is for them. And
Okay.
Drake's allowed to do things for his fans.
Shout out to the
My
1
point,
million people of his 900 or his 995, sorry. Yeah, 95
91
monthly.
million.
Yeah, 91 monthly listeners. Shout out to the 1 million people who care about this hand signal. Again,
No,
almost
it's
now we're again, this is, I think Drake, the percentages, it's like, shout
mm.
out to 1% of his fan base.
I, no, you did this with the Kehlani
Like,
review. No, you're in the minority. I think you did this with the Kehlani review because there are certain songs you didn't know,
hmm
and because you didn't know them, you thought they were like low key songs.
hmm
This is a thing that people like and people do. Like this is not like a like again in your world with I'm not gonna even go into that.
hmm
In your world, different. But why I say I like it is because this is the album that's gonna take him past Michael Jackson, and that is a big deal. And
Why are
I
you
do think
wearing the
he's
glove then?
that's why he's
It.
wearing the glove.
Why are you
That's why he's
wearing the
wearing the
glove?
glove.
If you're better than Michael Jackson, why are you still imitating him?
I don't understand.
See what I'm
What am I?
saying? Like that's
I
what about this is cool? Like there's no cool part to that. This six
I
tag signal, whatever. Why are you
I
wearing
don't.
Michael Jackson's glove if you're surpassing him? That makes
Well,
zero sense.
here's the thing. I think the things being cool is different. Like I don't think any of these things are cool. That's not really like how I'm looking at it, cool or not cool.
hmm
Maybe that's like for the kids to think of cool or not cool. This is more like historically significant, and this is almost easier to remember and notice from this album. And to him, maybe it's more important that he do that. Like personally, I think he's wearing out Michael's glove. Like too many videos of Michael's glove. Like we're
Yeah,
doing too
fuck
much
off.
with
Like
that.
nobody again, the
hmm
Iceman thing, just do your thing, surpass.
hmm
Don't why are you still imitating Michael Jackson? This is not even the first the entire beef for like two or three songs. Kendrick Lamar and Drake were talking about Michael Jackson and Prince all the time. I get it. I got it. I don't need more imagery, more explanations of the Michael Jackson. I know it's a thing. Anybody who's a music listener, Drake listener, knows about this. Like I get it. I get it.
Here's and I think that that's actually the worst out of the three album covers.
Me
I think
too.
Maid of Honor is the best.
Oh, you
I
like that
think
one? Okay,
Habibti,
I like
yeah,
Habib T the most.
I think Habibti is good too. My part in this is like for the basketball listener, even the hockey listener, this is like breaking a Gretzky or a Kareem record.
Yeah.
Like never did anyone think someone would break this Michael record. Like this is not a thing that was like felt attainable at any time. And so for to immortalize it with the glove in the album, I understand the significance of it. I agree with you that like you could have just done your own thing for this album, like, but I'm not as upset at you about it of like it not being cool. Like it doesn't bother me, and I understand it, but I do think it's the worst out of the three. My
hmm
my thing is this, and I feel like I like all these covers. So this is the first time I feel like I've liked the three covers in this way.
Okay.
But I think that Drake is um an over the fence person in this way where like he's doing something that hasn't done in hip hop before. Like he's doing something for the first time. And I feel like there's no blueprint on how to act in that scenario. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it being important to him and him like thinking it's so cool, like I can't fault him for that because he's not breaking he's not breaking like another rapper's record in a sense. Like he's
hmm
gonna break some Jay-Z records, but he's already surpassed everything Jay-Z's done commercially. Like he's blown past that.
hmm
So for you to be in the same conversation as Michael, it's like you're a huge Michael Jackson fan. You know how big that is.
Right.
And I think that's such a big deal that it's like that's kind of why I give him the grace. Like if it was like a lesser person you're surpassing, like if he was surpassing Eminem, like I think it would be weird for him to like, you know what I mean? Like immortalize Eminem on the cover. But
hmm
passing Michael doesn't make any like Michael is like, such a figure that it's like anything I do on that level, I'm not gonna act normal. So I understand him in that sense. But I want to know in the comments, what is your favorite cover out of the three? Okay,
Yeah.
people. Maid of Honor,
One more thing about
Habibti,
yeah.
Iceman. What's your favorite cover?
Yeah, I think Habiti is my favorite, but if I saw somebody do this hand signal, the Drake hand signal, I would think you're a loser.
That's
Genuinely,
fine.
I'm like, you're a total loser to be doing something like that. It's actually just hilarious. So maybe part of the reason I've never seen somebody do this in person is because I'm just not surrounded by whoever that group of people is. I already have such a low, like a low expectation, like a low view of you. We're not even in the same room because
I th
if somebody did seriously, if somebody did this seriously, like actually, like with a serious demeanor and was like taking a picture doing this, I'd be like, you're a fucking loser. Like I would genuinely think that.
You know what? I'm not even gonna say I'm mad at you for that, but I don't want to say too much on the pod, but knowing you personally, I extremely know how you've never seen this. Like it's like you never seeing this is not even surprising me at all because I don't know, like I know most of your friends. I can't
Mhm.
name one of your friends who I could see doing this,
Yeah.
but I also have seen this a gazillion, and I also know people who are a part of Drake's camp too. So I think
Sure, if
like
you're in Drake's camp, that's fine.
no, no,
Because
but
as
I'm
Drake's
saying
people, you're doing the
people
Drake
do who are
thing.
not in Drake's camp.
Great for you.
You know what I would compare to before we get to the actual score
Yeah.
is I heard someone say on a podcast that if they see someone wearing OVO, they think they're a loser for
Yeah.
wearing OVO because they only know for women who have slept with OVO people to wear OVO. And I said I live in a world people wear OVO all the time. Like it's not that thing. So it's like whatever world you're a part of, you
Hmm.
look at these things differently when I was like, no, I was at Departure last week and I saw someone in an OVO hoodie at an event. Like that's very, very normal. People who wearing OVO stuff
Hmm.
who are men and women who don't have no connection to Drake. So this is a similar thing where this symbol to you, the fingers, the
Yeah.
six, like you don't know it in a real life concept. You only know it as Drake doing it. So you seeing it in real life is very much what are you doing? Like, don't do this.
Yeah.
I've known this in person more than I've seen Drake do it.
Okay.
So I know it in that context where it's like, oh, this is the thing people do in the club, out. I've seen people do it at basketball games. It's just
Hmm.
a very normal thing people do.
Yeah. Happy for them. Get away from me. Respectfully. This is a no skip.
Not a no skips. Not a no skips.
I'm just asking that. Just
No, not a no skips.
do you think it's a vinyl cop though? Any of the three albums? I don't think he's doing a vinyl, but just for the archives, I guess.
Probably not.
Okay.
Like maybe Iceman. Iceman is a significant album,
Yeah.
but I don't think so.
Okay. Me neither. Okay. The moment everybody's waiting for. Adriel, what is your score for Iceman? And if you have a score for the other two albums, I'll accept that as well. But for Iceman in particular.
No, just Iceman for me. Um, for me, this is a seven.
Wow. I
Um,
cannot believe you're actually saying that out loud. That is
yeah,
insane
I
to me.
think I think what I've realized over the past couple days is that this album actually no, let me not say seven is too strong. It's six and a half. Let me not say
Hmm.
seven, six and a half. But I think the whole narrative around this album has changed just in 48 hours.
Okay.
I've seen people go from underwhelming, too much music, whatever, to people having like favorite songs they haven't stopped playing since Sunday.
Hmm.
And I think like this is one of those albums that I don't know how well it's gonna age in terms of a full project, but I think people are gonna have more and more songs they like, as the weeks, months pass with this project.
Hmm.
There are songs I don't like for sure. Like I think the trap Drake. I'm not like I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear trapper Drake. Um, but I think Drake still has a sauce here. Like songs like Lil Birdie,
Hmm.
Burning Bridges,
Shabang?
Where She At, Where She At.
Yeah.
Like those are songs that just kind of mix all the things that are like Drake specific of the pettiness, the catchiness,
Hmm.
the actual rapping. And this is our first stab at like a full Drake rap project since if you're reading this is too late. So I'd love to go back and kind of compare those to each other. But to me, this is like it's a good project. It's nothing more than that. It's a good project. I think the anticipation, the Drakeness, the battle,
Hmm.
all are kind of like muddying how we're viewing this project. But I think give everyone some more time to listen. Um, it could grow on them. And then last but not least, I actually have a ranking
Okay.
of the big three albums since they've been released. This is at the bottom of them.
Yeah. It's not even close.
I think the fall off is still the best one. I would have
Hmm.
GNX number two, but this is a clear number three.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what this means for that group of three, and everyone can have their own opinion, but I think like we're at least in a place where everyone is dropping music again, and I'm happy to see that.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, so for my score for the infamous or famous Drake, whichever one you feel like buying into, Drake, Iceman, this is a 4.5. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed at all. The length, we don't even have to talk about it, honestly. We don't have to talk about the bloated length. That's just That's just a characteristic of Drake's music at this point.
Short for Drake.
Yeah, 18 songs. That is short for a Drake album now. That was terrible. I think that there's songs that he's just missing now. Like, we used to say before, it's like Drake can just never like actually release a bad song. It's just like how good the song really is. A song
Hmm.
like Bees on the Table, I'm like, this is just not good. Yeah, this is just like not good. Don't Worry is another song where I'm just like, I just don't think this is a good song. So he's at a point now where now he is missing. His singing has, I will say the views review has influenced this a little bit. His singing has noticeably depreciated. It is now very not good. Like it's very obvious in how much worse he is as a singer. His rapping, I mentioned the similes part earlier. That's lazy. Like I'm just seeing a lot of atrophy, basically lyrical atrophy, singing atrophy, production atrophy. I'm just seeing atrophy, and that's why I keep bringing up like this is Lakers LeBron. We're watching Lakers LeBron. This is what is happening. Okay, I think the sooner we come to realize this, the better. And I think that what you were talking about, his ubiquity, is kind of like being on the Lakers. That's why he's on the Lakers, is for the ubiquity. And I think that that is happening here as well. So 4.5, fine. I mean, there are songs that are good. That's probably the best way to describe it for me. There
Hmm.
are songs that are good. Everything else surrounding it, I'm not impressed. Yeah, Habiti and Maid of Honor. I would put Maid of Honor above Habiti, I think. No, the dance album, which is Maid of Honor.
Maid of Honor. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would put that above Habiti. Um, so maybe on par with Iceman. That's how I'm viewing it.
Yeah, I think to wrap this whole thing up, I said it yesterday. I said Drake has done it again
What
and
does
done
that
it
mean?
again. Well, done it again as in he's back in the zeitgeist. Like
Okay.
he's being talked about again. His music is being played again. I think Drake is gonna always have this juxtaposition from critical acclaim to like his music actually being good or
This is
actually
gonna
being
stream
listened
like
to.
crazy. This is probably gonna go crazy numbers
Oh,
wise. The
it already
Yeah.
is. Like all these songs have like 10 million
Yeah.
streams.
So the numbers on it, it's
Um,
probably gonna he's probably gonna I don't know what the number is. I'm not good at the calculation of his streams versus how much it
he's
sells.
projected for 400,000. He's
Yeah,
projected for
it's
400,000.
gonna be insane.
But I think like I want to end it with this way in like how we view Drake. I think will never get removed from this. Like using my legacy artist example, like
Hmm.
he's already surpassed every legacy artist who we love in the
Yes.
first place. So this critical way we're looking at him in the present, I think is just prisoner of the moment in every way, shape, or form. I'm not saying the music is great,
Hmm.
but I think it actually doesn't matter if the music is great or not.
Yeah.
Him giving us more slaps that will play and be part of our life as we go on is the win in itself.
Yeah.
That album that had Drop It Like It's Hot on it from Snoop Dogg, no one knows what that album is about. No one knows that album deeply through and through.
Yeah.
Snoop was already solidified at that point, but Drop It
Yes.
Like It's Hot,
Yeah. You know.
that's all we need.
Yeah. You know what you're bringing up is brilliant. Drake is a legacy act at this point,
Yeah,
but we
that's
treat
it.
him like he is not
Like his
because
second
of his.
album fighting for a spot.
Yeah, but the thing is because everybody knows him. Like the fame level is like everybody knows him. Everybody's gonna listen to it. So thus him releasing music every time it comes out is like this is a big moment. Like this is supposed to be big.
Hmm.
But in the chronological order of like music history, when you're in year 15, you're a legacy act. You are. Here's and even doing this, releasing 3 albums at the same, that's a legacy act move. That's a legacy, that's this thing you do when you're like, you've already done your prime, you already done your arenas, you already done this, you already break your records, all blah blah blah. I'm gonna release 3 albums just for the folks so they can eat. Like that's a legacy act type of thing to do, right? So I think he this is the last part of this until we're just done. Right? I think he has transitioned into that thinking more than everyone else. Like everybody.
I want to give him his kudos. Biggest comeback in music history. If you enjoyed Iceman, please let us know in the chat. Let us know are our scores too low? Should it be higher? What is the best song on Iceman? Okay, we all have our thoughts. Make sure you guys follow us on the interwebs, Album Mode Pod on Instagram, Album Mode Pod on TikTok, Album Mode Pod on X, formerly known as Twitter, Album Mode on YouTube. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Iceman.